The pie of life helps us to see where we are, how we spend our time now. But where exactly do we want to go? And how do we come up with a plan to get there? The answer to that first question, where do we want to go, is tied up with what we're hoping for in life. I don't mean our immediate hopes, but what we're most longing for. That might seem a bit deep for a course on well-being, but it's fundamental. As we seek the answer to that question, we'll find the motivation for everything else that we want to do on this course. So what are we hoping for? We may have short-term hopes for things like a successful meeting or a good day at work or a time of laughter and fun with friends and family, or medium-term hopes like for things like Christmas holidays, travel, so on, or longer-term hopes for things like a new job, a promotion at work, an end to the war in the Ukraine, a drop in gas prices, solutions to the climate change problems we're facing, and so on. However, in the busyness of life, we rarely pause to think about what's behind all our hopes. We don't stop to reflect on our deeper longings. When I think on this, I realise I'm longing for things like happiness, peace, belonging, justice, freedom, joy, to be fully known, to be loved. I mean, pleasure is great, but it's fleeting. What I truly long for is far deeper than that. I long to be more at peace in myself, to be more easily let go of my worries and anxieties, to be more joyful, to be confident, to laugh more. In short, I want an all-round sense of well-being in my life. And I don't think we long for those things just for ourselves. We can't be truly happy whilst we know that other people are suffering. So I long for those same things for everyone. And we're going to look more at that in week 4 when we explore relational well-being. So my deepest longing is for that holistic sense of well-being. But we live in an imperfect world, a world which will keep piling on the stresses and trying to rob me of that joy. So if I want the quality of life that I've just shared with you, I need to work on growing my resilience tank. I need to invest in developing my well-being in each of the dimensions. Recognizing that a complete sense of well-being is what we most desire is the first step in being able to plan our route from where we are now. It tells us where we want to go and why we want to go there. But what's the next step? How do we plan to get there? That idea of a universal feeling of well-being can seem so far out of reach that it's impossible, so we can be tempted to give up before we start. I've tried to have a more positive outlook. I've tried to do some more exercise. I've tried to eat more healthily, but I can't do it. So I give up on my deepest longings and lower my expectations. Besides, wine and snacks always go so well when I sit down to watch that next episode of Stranger Things on Netflix. It might seem impossible, but it helps to understand that we can never get where we want to be by trying, but we can if we focus instead on training. John Ortberg says that in general, we overestimate what we can do by trying, and we underestimate what we'll be able to do by training. So, for example, if we were to do a quick survey around the people we know and see who could go out and just do a 5k run now without needing any practice, there'd be some people that could do it, but there'd be a lot of people that couldn't. And if we think about those people that could do a 5k run, I mean run, not walk it, but run it, they'll have been doing some training to get there, or they'll have a general youth and fitness on their side. But for many of us, we'd need to build up to that. And we know that if we were to go out and gradually work on it over a period of time, we could do it. And I'm sure that if everybody was to set a goal using something like a Couch to 5k app, that in time, with training, everybody would be able to do a 5k run with training. That's the difference. It's not about going out and trying to run a 5k run really, really, really hard. It's about training and knowing that a bit at a time I can get better. Transformation in any significant way involves training, not just trying. This applies to running longer distances, learning to play an instrument, learning a language, developing new skills at work. It also applies to improving our well-being, reducing anxiety, managing stress, and so on. So, with our eye on that goal, we need to think about ourselves as going into training to improve our well-being in order to make our resilience tank larger and to learn coping skills to manage stress more effectively. So where do we start? Bill Hybels said that in planning our time, the first question to ask is not, what do I need to get done in the next 30 days? But it is, who do I want to become in the next season of my life? In the busyness of life, we have long to-do lists and fill each day with activities. And we can get to the end of a day and feel like we've had a good day. But sometimes we confuse activity with accomplishment. We confuse our busyness with actually moving towards our goals. Another year goes by and we find that our well-being may have been up and down through the year, but that not much has really changed. What would your diary look like if you planned it based on who you wanted to be, if you based it on the well-being you wanted to develop in your life? 4 questions to ask that help frame this exercise are listed at the bottom of page 9 in the workbook. What do I want to become in this next season of my life? What area of well-being am I wanting to develop? What do I need to do to grow in that area? Where can I fix a time for that in my diary? And how can I keep focused on the reasons I'm doing this? There's a link below to a short supplementary video on planning your diary where I share what I'm learning in that process. Please take the time to watch that when you come to do this exercise. We'll discuss the diary planning exercise further in groups when we meet, but you might like to share in the comments below any thoughts you have on that last question. How can I keep focused on the reasons I am doing this? Before you meet in your group, spend some time thinking about what one thing you might do more or differently to help improve your physical well-being, and who will help hold you accountable for that. Next week, we'll begin to explore the things we can do to improve our mental well-being. I hope you can join us.